What does the future of a dairy look like when technology leads the way? Well, in part 3 of our Country Aire Farms series with Delaval, we are back at the dairy to hear how cousins Craig and Matt Gerrits are raising the bar on cow performance and cropping precision, all with the help of technology. From barn design and biosolids to dashboards and data, they share how smart tools are shaping a smarter dairy. All that and more here today on the Uplevel Dairy Podcast. This episode is brought to you by Delaval. As a company built on innovation, Delaval is committed to finding ways to help dairy farmers do more with less by providing world-leading milking equipment and solutions. So Craig, here we're sitting in the office that oversees the rotary platform here at Country Aire, and this barn, this building that we're in right now, was part of a vision that you and the partners here had to take Country Aire into the future. And so what was your vision for what you wanted this facility to be?
So the main goal here was to get technology used as best as we could. I also wanted it very simplified, so we don't have much going on in our holding area. I wanted to design the cow flow spectrum to have a sorted pen in a pen. So what that means is they run through the sort gate. We got 2 holding pens, and then each pen out in the barn, we have a certain section where we can hold these cows for any type of checks. There's food, there's water, and they can lay down. So the advantage of that is cows can still be cows, and you can sort in the middle of the night, and say you got a vet check, they can come ultrasound and boom, 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 everything's locked up. You open the gate and the pen is all one again.
Oh, wow. So you're able to have that efficiency from the sorting side, but also kind of go back to, as you said, the cows be cows thing, but you're able to put cows in position to do what you need to do when they're locked up, but without having them locked up and standing for extra lengths of time as well.
Yeah, so you're eliminating a lot of the human interaction on getting these cows locked up because they're already in the group they need to be, and you're not messing with their milk schedule at all either.
But also that means eliminating human error, because as humans, we make mistakes, right? And when it comes to sorting cows, identification, making sure that the right things are getting done to the right cows at the right time, sometimes as people, we can be the source of error. So were you looking to eliminate that piece of things too?
Yeah, I mean, having a higher catch rate is going to make your dairy more compliant on all the protocols we have set up here. So with the sort gate with a 99% accuracy, you're easily able to catch these cows. Now, when your workers are not using a sort gate, are they going to want to search through 5,000 cows for a few cows? Probably not. So that's one of the key advantages of a sort.
Back then to this vision, it was, this ease of being able to sort cows that was beneficial for the cow, but also a huge advantage for your people that take care of cows every day here. But there's also more to this facility. Maybe just take a moment too to talk about the choice to go rotary. This dairy, Country Aire, it's got a unique history when it comes to rotaries and parlors, because you're one of the first rotary parlors in the area. But we're not talking the rotary of today. We're talking about the rotaries of a few decades ago.
Yeah, so in 97, 98, somewhere around that time, we put up that 40-stall internal rotary. There was a big learning curve, and cows had to adjust accordingly, and it took a couple months. But once you get through that phase, I don't see a better way to efficiently milk a cow. And through all the 26 years we've used that rotary, it just stuck to and made sense to go back with a rotary. And we just implemented a lot more technology now, and it's giving us better looks on data and syncing cows to the platform. So the biggest driving force for us to go Delaval on this parlor was the TSR spray robots. They are making 95, 99% accuracy spray rates on these cows with no cross-contamination, which means we're not using dip cups on each single cow. There's always one spray to one cow, no cross-contamination. And a couple other things, once you start on the pre-end, they have a comfort start, they call it, where they tap the unit on top of the chain, it releases, and it's really easy for the guys to attach units. And the other advantage is they have an Avanza unit cluster. So it's really like a collapsed unit, and that helps with squawking, less kickoffs, and better milk path flow.
So you mentioned that the T3 robot was that initial hook. When you saw that robot, you're like, this is what we want.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned the benefits in reducing cross contamination from dip and dip caps. What about labor and any other cost savings that over the long term you think you'll be able to capture from that?
So the other advantage is, like you said, labor. You're taking one guy out and replacing him with a robot. Obviously, every dairy wants to be labor efficient, and that's one step towards that direction. And the other part of the spectrum is the dip usage. You're getting a 15 milliliters per millisecond spray, so you know what your dip usage is going to be by the end of the month, depending on cow numbers.
That's interesting. So does that give you a better gauge for just, being able to predict expenses, stay on budget, that sort of thing when it comes to the bigger picture of profitability?
Yeah, you can micromanage then.
Mm.
You know exactly what your dip usage is going to be, and the advantage of that is dip selection. Then, if you're able to have the constant variable of dip usage each month, you can kind of mess with your emollients and your iodine kill.
Okay, so talk about that for a moment. There's a few things that come to mind just when you think about the ability to manipulate those details and the environment that you're in here. When I say environment, we are in Northeast Wisconsin, and that means that there's seasonal changes, including really cold winters. But there's also, and that affects dip usage and some of those emollients that you want to be using. But there's also the factor of bedding, because here you're herd that has transitioned from previously being a sand bedded dairy to now biosolids. And for a lot of herds, that can be something that is a big challenge to work through.
Yeah, with the weather changes here, we got the 4 seasons, so you're going to see different variations in somatic from summer to winter. So with that robot, that becomes more important on those biosolids because of the emollient structure you have in place. You don't want T conditions to get out of hand. So there's always adjustments based on season here.
Again, this is a challenge for many producers when they make that switch to learn how to get back as close to the milk quality that they may have known when they are on sand. What's that transition been like for you here?
Biosolids was a big change for us. Obviously, we saw the increased mastitis, higher cell counts, but we were able to micromanage our weight and, take opinions from peers, go to these other dairies and get more ideas of how to efficiently lower your somatic. And I think we've successfully found that way. We're around 85 overall somatic cell, and we've been on it 2 years. So we had one relatively rough year, and then by year 2 we kind of found what the niche was.
Yeah, so congrats to you for being able to dial it in to the point that you are at 8,500,000 somatic cell count on biosolids. And that's with going through an expansion also. So that says a lot, Craig. It says a lot about management and technology and what those things can do when they're combined together. But a statement you shared with me in the past was that it really reveals your ability as a manager. Do you want to expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, so cows are creatures of habit, right? So you need to be extremely consistent with bedding. We do line here, we level, checking moistures of bedding constantly. So I think that was the key factor, having consistent milk schedules, consistent prep. And to elaborate on the prep side, what's nice about this parlor is there's no drifting. So everything's locked in or locked out. So with that comfort start, that feature will not work until it hits a certain stall. So you're always getting the exact prep you need. So I think that was one of the key factors in why we were successful to get under 100,000 somatic so quick.
Yeah.
And we've maintained that now for about a year.
Okay, so go back to what you just shared about some of those other technologies that are available to you at your fingertips that have really changed the game for Country Aire.
Yeah, one of them was the high responsive milking, high flow responsive milking. So the advantage of that is on our 50 stall rotary up in the north side. With a smaller rotary, the high flow response milking was able to adjust the vacuums based on milk flow. So cows are milked out before we hit that TSR robot, and you know they're milked out. They're just not getting pulled off for no reason. So on an 80 stall rotary, it's still just as important because you're getting better peaks. But I'd say the advantage is in the 50 when you have a smaller rotary and less rotation time. So you need to get that unit off.
And then other tech on the platform that you mentioned.
So having meters that give me daily milk weights is key. So the unique thing about our facility is we have 2 milk processors and we have quotas for both of them. So having the ability to watch individual cow data milk weights is huge for adjusting cow numbers based on milk base.
So you're moving cows back and forth to kind of make those adjustments then from one parlor to the other to meet those quotas for the specific milk procurement companies.
Yeah, it's just a lot easier to manage when you got all this data coming in and you're not really guessing anymore.
Yeah. So we've been talking about the sort gates, the tech that's on the parlor. Also, you have dashboards that you look at every day too. What are your key performance indicators? What do you look at?
So I'm looking at peak graphs on milk flow for each pen, and I'm adjusting with Crystal, would be the one I work with, on pen number to see if the cows are getting the exact peak they need. So for instance, if a high group comes in and they're not had that bell-shaped curve, we're going to make adjustment, maybe either slow the parlor down or go faster.
So you're adjusting platform speed based on that pen data.
Yes.
And able to dial that in to just really get the rotary moving at the best pace for milk production levels per pen.
The other thing we'd look at would be total yield.
Okay.
That's super important for that milk base quota. Every morning, that's what I look at, and seeing how cows are doing on production and make my number adjustments, move our fresh cows as needed. But without that total yield, I can't see if like a ration's making a difference for these cows until I get bulk take data. And it's just really key for our setup here.
Yeah. So technology has totally changed the game for the way you milk cows here, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And this isn't where technology ends. It doesn't end when cows leave the platform. It doesn't even end when they walk through the sort gate and into the sort pens. You really took a lot of time to design the barn the way that you wanted it to be to meet cow comfort as well. So again, on the note of technology, what were your must-haves for the cow comfort side when cows leave the parlor and get into their pens?
I would say the main thing would be our AgroMesh ventilation system. It's a fully automated system. You got your sprinklers, your curtains, and all your fans linked up to one program that adjusts based on humidity and temperature at all times. So basically, if higher humidities are in the area, either more fans are going to run at a more efficient speed or curtains are going to be wider open. It all depends on temperature.
So you have been in the new parlor and the new barn for how long now?
A little over a year.
A little over a year.
Yep.
Yeah. In the last year, what have been some of the biggest challenges that you faced with the startup and just honing in a new facility?
I would say employee training was a big thing in the beginning, making sure that they're compliant to what we're asking, and the technology kind of makes that happen.
What did it take to get the team up to speed with technology?
There was definitely a transition phase. I had to do some selling on them to say like, hey, this is going to be easier for you guys. And they kind of looked at me like, yeah, we'll see. And now I don't think they'll go back. Ever go back to what we were in. And the key advantages is being persistent with the protocol and having the guys in the correct positions, and everything fell into place from there.
But this also affected milkers. This is a whole different way of milking cows. So, what changed for you in the number of people it takes to milk now versus what it would have been, before?
So yeah, I mean, we went from a 40 stall rotary to an 80 stall rotary, and we have the same amount of people. So that just speaks volume to the technology and the efficiency that this parlor is able to provide for us.
So, what do your 4 people spend their time doing?
So when the cow enters the platform, we have the TSR robot sprays it. First guy is in line. He's doing a mastitis check. Couple stalls down, there is a towel wipe. We do all 4 quarters, and then flip the towel, do all 4 quarters again. And then the next guy will be a few more stalls away. He'll be in that comfort zone start where he's able to attach the unit. The 4th guy, he's kind of your roamer. The advantage of having that roamer would be checking for kickoffs, bringing the last cow to the pen, and also for any mastitis or lame issues, they are able to bring them to a sick pen.
So that's your person that is kind of just the catch-all so that the other 3 can be super focused on their tasks at hand.
Yeah, so, and it also takes some stress off the guys.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were to walk into our parlor, I think you can hands down say that these guys are stress-free, because you'll watch them. They'll rotate positions every couple pens. They're doing something different.
Okay.
The only guy that'll stay the same would be the lead. He's a mastitis detector and stimulation. The less effort involved with this parlor just makes your guys happier, want to be here, and you can really see the difference.
Other challenges that you faced in just getting this place up and running with the new addition of the rotary and the new barn here?
So prior to this, we had a 700 cow dairy that we had to train as well. So within 3 days, I had a plan made to transition all our cows from the front rotary to this rotary, and also bring 700 cows back in 2 days and get them trained, which we successfully did.
Wow.
A lot of time involved, a lot of getting animals where you wanted them, but it worked out. But the unique thing was, I didn't want to see such a yield drag when you started up on the rotary. So what we did before we went down on that front rotary, we did like a pre-training phase. So once they got milked off the other parlor, we'd walk them over here. We'd let them ride it. No milking. They just learned the deck, got the environment, smelled around, went back to their pens. We did that 3 times the weekend before our startup. And when we started up, it wasn't smooth sailing, but it was pretty good for what we could ask for.
Oh.
We did not see too much of a drag yield, and I think that was why.
Well, kudos to you for doing that and having that foresight to plan ahead in the way that you did, and the motivation to do so. And when you put these pieces together of the technology, now over a year in, things are clicking pretty well here.
Yeah, we're moving along as we should, and there's a couple benchmarks we're proud of, and that would be the somatic under 100 through all this transition phase. That was a 3-year phase, and we're still not over it yet, but we'll continue to get there. We're continuing to climb on the ECM list, and we'll see where these cows will get once we get a couple consistent years out of them of not moving them.
Well, you're on a great track to be able to do that. You've done some incredible and impressive things here to get the technology adapted, bought in from the people that are out here working with cows every day, to be able to get the herd transitioned over as well, and to a point where in a very short time you're able to see the fruits of these efforts, the benchmarks, as we mentioned, and one especially to be proud of that milk quality, considering, as we talked about earlier as well, the challenge of being on biosolids and what that brings up with it. And Craig, is there anything else that you'd like to add?
So if I were to give advice for someone that was in an expansion phase, I would really take a look around at all these dairies around. There's a lot of top-level dairies around in this Brown County area specifically. Get the ideas, take the advice, and most importantly, do what's best for your dairy.
From the milking parlor to the fields, every part of this farm is driven by purpose and performance. Now we shift from the dairy side to the cropping side, where Craig's cousin Matt leads the charge and talks about how he uses data and technology to make every pass in the field count. So for you, Matt, leading the cropping segment of this business here at Country Aire, what do you see as some of the truly game-changing technologies that have been a part of the business in the last few years?
There's been a lot of advances on the technology front, at least on the agronomy side, whether you're talking about planting or chopping or manure application. I think the biggest thing is just trying to keep up with it all on those new advances. Something new is coming out every year, and be willing to actually try it.
Can you think of a specific example of something that you tried?
An example would be like GPS technology. At first, it was just we can make a straight line through the field and we don't have to drive. Now it's planting variable rates throughout the field and planning your mappings on, okay, does that corn planter the last time down the field end up on the side opposite from the driveway? Just anywhere to cut out 3, 4, or 5 minutes.
Wow. Okay. So that's what we're looking at, and is cutting out 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, right? And you're a guy that manages margins on the financial side of things, but speak to the cropping side for a moment. What's the difference that 3 to 5 minutes makes in the bigger picture?
Whether it's a pass or throughout the day, well, 3 or 4 minutes on every hour. Hey, I lost an hour throughout the day. Well, if the conditions are right, hey, we missed an opportunity to get another 60 or 70 acres planted, and that comes back to the rest of the farm. Is that the difference between getting that crop in the ground and not getting that crop in the ground?
So now you have data. You have data that you can tie to decision making when it comes to something, even in this example of where can we cut time in the field to make up time at the end of the day, whether you're the one in the tractor or it's one of the employees from the farm driving it.
Yeah.
And so when you add those pieces together, we're talking big, much bigger things, right?
Yep. Just, being able to plan that stuff out ahead of time. Hey, I know these fields are going to take me X amount of time. It already has, hey, it should take 4 hours to get this planted, and I can kind of plan the day accordingly, and the rest of the equipment, trying to line other people up, whether it's spraying or fertilizer or working land, just being able to have an idea on how to manage those guys.
So is part of your job then setting up this schedule for who's doing what, where, when, and how long it should take per field to be able to rotate to the next field and do things in a timely fashion? Is that part of your job?
Yeah, trying to, especially during planting season, trying to manage which direction people are going, time, application, you name it.
Wow. Okay. So that's a big responsibility that you have, but you have these tools that enable you with technology and data to be able to do it in ways that who would have imagined, 20 years ago, when you were a kid, probably riding along with dad in the tractor, right?
Yep.
So when you think about what is possible, what is capable of some of the technologies that you brought into the cropping side, where it will take this dairy farm in the future, what do you see? What excites you for the possibilities of cropping 10 years from now with the technology you know of? And what else is out there?
I certainly think on the technology side, the sky's the limit on that already, with fully autonomous tractors and stuff like that. But I think we're cautiously optimistic on the technology side, being able to adapt to some of those, and some of them that are out aren't the right fit, or I guess looking at return on investment just isn't quite there yet.
So that said, if you could project how many years it will be until there's autonomous tractors running this field here at Country Aire Farms, how far are we looking?
I don't know if we would ever have a fully autonomous fleet. We certainly like our tractor time too. It gives you an opportunity.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't get tractor time.
Yeah, it gives you an opportunity to think and listen to podcasts, or while we're in there just trying to get better at dairying yourself. So we kind of use it as not a mental break, but another way for us to learn.
That's interesting. So even if the technology is there, you're not quite ready to allow it to take away your tractor time.
Not quite yet. I know. I think the rest of the group here would agree with that.
Yeah. But some of the other things that are out there, when you are doing research and thinking about what you could bring in to this business to make producing crops in a sustainable way, in a profitable way, in a tight margin business like we're in this industry, what else are you seeing that you think is going to be really revolutionary to the industry?
I think one of them on our radar is like the Yield 360 unit, just being able to get feed pad runoff water out on an already growing crop. But it's just taking that next step in the technology to have that capacity to be able to do it, like upgrading your GPS receivers, and then that will allow you to be able to do something like that.
Okay. So some cool things that you foresee, you're at least keeping your eyes on.
Yeah, certainly optimistic on the technology side. There's some of them that you're willing to try, and some that you're, I think let's give it another 2 or 3 years yet and see what improves with it.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you very much.
You betcha.
You just heard from Craig and Matt Gerrits of Country Aire Farms, a vision for technology built on family and focused on the future. If you want to catch up on prior episodes in this special series with Delaval, head back to stream parts 1 and 2 to get to meet both generations of Country Aire Farms. Thanks for listening to the Uplevel Dairy Podcast. Don't forget to follow, rate, and share wherever you get your podcast. I'm Peggy Coffeen, and until next time, keep on growing, keep on learning, and up-leveling your dairy. This episode is brought to you by Delaval. As a company built on innovation, Delaval is committed to finding ways to help dairy farmers do more with less by providing world-leading milking equipment and solutions.